You just go up to File, Build Profiles. Okay. So a few things you need to do. By default, your project is always going to be on the Windows platform for you to build to. But we're publishing on the internet, so choose Web. And then in the bottom right corner, you can choose Switch Platform. It will take a couple of minutes usually to convert over to the web platform. WebGL, technically. WebGL formats. There we go. That was pretty fast. You'll see it kind of do some things behind the scenes so that it can render in WebGL better. Okay. So next thing is you got to make sure that the scene or scenes that you want in the build are there. It's still doing some things behind the scene there. You can see status in the bottom right of it compiling scripts. Okay, now we're actually done. All right, so next thing is open scene list, because right now we can't do anything. You got to open scene list. And inside here, you want to delete out any scenes that you're not using. Even though Andre has this unchecked, it's a good idea just to hit delete key on your keyboard to get rid of that, clear everything out. Then you can hit add open scenes. Now, if you are working with a project that has multiple scenes, for instance, you have one scene that's a main menu, and then one scene that's level 1, one scene that's level 2, you would just drag those actual scene files into the scene list over here. So aside from just adding the open scene, which in this case is Andre's challenge, if this were a game that you needed to add multiple scenes, which it's not in his case, but I'm just demonstrating this for the tutorial's sake. So let's say this was another scene, you would just drag it right into here and make sure that you have them in the correct order. So the one that's at the very top, labeled as scene 0 always, is the first scene that's going to be loaded when the game plays. So if you did have a main menu scene, you would want that at the top. All right. Hopefully that made sense. All you've got to do is go back over to web, choose build. And since you guys don't have access to the full computer, I would suggest always making your build folder inside of your project. Okay, but don't build inside of the assets folder. Everything inside the assets folder is all the contents of your project, and you cannot build into the assets folder because I'm not even going to explain why. But make sure that you just choose the folder for the project, so at the same level as the assets and library and everything else. Go ahead and make a new folder. Do that every time you build. So I'll call this WebGL1, something like that. And then choose that folder. It will immediately begin building. Okay. Once that build is completed, it will take a couple of minutes to do that, especially for WebGL. Although this is a very simple project, so it might go really quickly. Then from this same menu, you can just choose Publish to Play. And as long as you're logged into your Unity Play account, it will take your build and publish that onto the Unity Play website so you can have a link to put in your discussion post. All right.